decision about what you're gonna do. Maybe a job you really care about, or training for something new. Only you can decide, so to help you make up your mind, we'll be here to help you down at Work Start. When you're making your plans for the future, there's someone who can help you decide. We'll be happy to see you anytime. Ring 500-345. We'll help you make a decision about what you're gonna do. Maybe a job you really care about, or training for something new. Only you can decide, so to help you make up your mind, we'll be here to help you down at Work Start. Only you can decide, so to help you make up your mind, we'll be here to help you down at Work Start.
Since 1983, Work Start, a Scottish-based training for employment agency, has been developing new ways of training unemployed people. Operating on a not-for-profit basis and backed by public and private sectors, Work Start has piloted a variety of programs, gaining a unique body of experience, and has achieved international recognition. As 1992 and the establishment of a single European market approaches, British industry and commerce is facing a skills shortage. This is a challenge of the 90s, and one which confronts us all.
Well, the next decade is really going to be quite a difficult one for Scottish business. I think the one that people know about most is 1992, the completion of the internal market. But we've also got major changes in the makeup of the Scottish workforce, particularly because far fewer children are going to be leaving schools. And then, of course, there's the introduction of new technology more and more every day. Work is going to be there. We are competing in a global market, and the Scottish workforce, if it's not trained, isn't going to be able to get a job in that market.
The skills gap, aggravated by falling numbers of school leavers, means that it will be to the women looking to go back to work after raising a family, and to the ranks of the long-term unemployed that employers will turn.
Most economists are now of the view that there will be a chronic skills shortage by the year 2000. This is for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the proportion of jobs which are going to be affected by new technology and hence will require new skills will increase. And secondly, the number of school leavers are likely to decline, particularly after 1995, when there are likely to be about 1 million a year less school leavers than there are at the moment. Now, many companies recognise that there will be a chronic shortage of skills and are adopting policies to take account of this, but of course many are not. In my opinion, the future of the economy as a whole, as well as these individual companies, depends upon them adopting realistic policies, both to the recruitment and also to the training and retraining of the labour available to them. In fact, I would go so far as to say that if we don't adopt such policies, there is no chance that we are going to be able to meet the gap between the demand for skilled labour in the year 2000 and the supply available.
For the long-term unemployed, many of whom feel alienated and marginalised in our society, the challenge of the 90s will be an opportunity to acquire confidence, updating rusty skills and learning new ones, and return to the world of work.
The challenge is going to be to retrain people whose skills are not needed, and to give the unemployed who have had no education or little education and little training the right kind of training to win a job.
But for employers, trade unions and training providers, the challenge remains. How can the right type of training be made available at the right time? How do we cope with on-the-job training and the introduction of trainees to the workplace? How do we change the attitude of employers? And how do we reach the long-term unemployed and overcome their cynicism about training schemes? If we are to meet the challenge of the 90s, one thing is certain: attitudes must change.
If we're serious about making a contribution, if we're serious about equipping British industry with the new technology in order that it can compete confidently in the year 2000, then we all have to make a contribution to that which is required, the changes required, and so therefore all attitudes have to go. And we have to approach this issue of new training in a united way, recognising the serious challenge and being absolutely committed to creating the conditions in which we can deal with it.
Much has been said of the transition from school to the world of work, but less attention has been paid to the transition from the dole queue back into employment. Since opening its doors to the public in Dundee in 1984, Work Start a pioneering project now operating across Scotland, has addressed this problem. WorkStart is determined to meet the needs of modern industry, which requires a flexible workforce with the core skills necessary to meet ever-changing tasks.
If you consider what's happened in the last 10 years, there's been really a revolutionary change, away particularly from mechanical-based products towards electronic-based products. And if we're going to deal with this revolutionary change, then we have to really focus in on it in a new way.
Technology changes very rapidly, perhaps turns over once every 3 years, certainly in the electronics industry, so that the knowledge that people at work have to have about the background to the job that they're doing is always increasing. This makes it imperative that any company, particularly those in high technology, but others as well, have continuously to train the workforce and to keep it up to scratch. Now that's really quite difficult because you've got to take people off the job, you've got to give them training. You've got to have trainers who know what the new technologies are.
The cornerstone of WorkStart's approach is that training must be relevant and attuned to the demands of local labour requirements, as well as the needs of the individual. Keeping it local has been a key factor in making WorkStart user-friendly and readily accessible to unemployed people.
Now, when you think about this, the person who's a long way out on a peripheral housing estate on the edge of the city, he's not going to find it, or she's not going to find it that easy to get into the centre of town, pay the bus fares and everything for a training programme that's on in the centre. They might not also have the self-confidence to take that on. So I think what we've got to do is take our programmes out to the people, our training programmes, and involve them at an early stage, certainly in the initial stages. We're going to build sort of stepping stones.
WorkStart chose to open in the heart of 4 large council estates on the northeastern periphery of Dundee. Here unemployment has remained persistently high despite a decline in the city's jobless total, and social deprivation is widespread. In many of these estates, the vast majority of families have been affected by unemployment. However, WorkStart has not been content merely to rely on its location. To improve accessibility, it has actively gone out into the communities where the unemployed live, with roadshow information sessions designed to introduce people to the training that is available. The roadshows are sensitive to the special needs of diverse communities. For example, in the valley communities of Ayrshire, once dependent on steel and mining, WorkStart's approach is tailored to a local situation, quite different from the market and fishing towns of Tayside, where WorkStart is also active. It is a strategy which has succeeded in helping over 1,000 long-term unemployed adults back into full-time employment. And, ironically, demand for WorkStart services has risen dramatically at a time when unemployment has continued to fall.
WorkStart is very important because prior to this outreach strategy from organisations like WorkStart, there's been almost a whole area of despair and hopelessness.
Innovation has been central to WorkStart's success, and the organisation is at the forefront in the research and development of new approaches, many of which have gone on to become national schemes. Day-to-day involvement in implementing schemes at ground level has allowed WorkStart to amass an expertise in developing and implementing new and ever more effective programmes to assist the unemployed back to work. But complacency has not been allowed to blunt WorkStart's enthusiasm, and continuing efforts have been made to find more effective ways to meet the changing needs of industry. Improving the quality of training provision is a focus of WorkStart's attention, as awareness grows that the money invested in training for the unemployed is failing to deliver.
WorkStart's record underlines the importance of new thinking and new strategies for training in the 90s. Training and education cannot be a one-off experience. Industry's ever-changing needs require new approaches. In meeting this challenge, employers are accepting more responsibility. They're demonstrating the same enthusiasm for training that they have for the new technologies. If WorkStart is to remain at the forefront of developments in training, we must accept that training has to be flexible, and it must be provided on a local basis. We must renew our commitment to quality training, and above all, we must continue to apply fresh, practical ideas to our service. That's training's technology, it is innovative. Of course, technology and innovation are indivisibly linked. Their practical application must match the ever-changing needs of the labour market.
Only you can decide, so to help you make up your mind.